Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Tabanson, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a first perspective on things and how we see them. And today we got a very serious show in store for you guys. Before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. So, you guys know that this Bronny James story has been a bit of a controversial one. You have some people out there that are in support of Bronny being in the NBA because they're LeBron fans. So they support pretty much anything that he does. And you have other people out there who are not LeBron fans that are like, wait a minute, this guy doesn't look like he's good enough to be in the league. And even some LeBron fans are like, wait a minute, this is not a good look for Bronny because we don't really see how this is beneficial to him. Prior to Bronny coming to the NBA, we heard all kinds of stories. We heard stories from an ESPN article that was published about how Rich Paul had a conversation with Bronny, and Bronny was like, so what do you want to do? He's like, I just want to hear my name called, right? And then after that, we started hearing stories of, well, Bronny's only going to be working out for two teams heading into the draft. We're like, what? And then I think leading into draft night, they were like, they were sending out messages, if you draft Bronny, he's going to go to Australia. And we're like, but I thought you said he just wanted to have his name called. Like, this is getting ridiculous. And then ultimately the Lakers draft Bronny as the 55th pick in the second round. And then they had their moment on opening night against the Minnesota Timberwolves. But then from there, it's just been a bunch of nothing, right? It's been a bunch of nothing. Bronny has barely played in the NBA. When he did play in NBA games, he made no impact whatsoever. And then all of a sudden we heard the news that he was being demoted to the G League. Where he will be with his teammates. And then a disturbing bit of information came out, which was we then heard that Bronny James would not be traveling with his South Bay Lakers team for away games, the G League team that he's on. Right now, mind you, this is a player that's supposed to be wanting to develop and all of these different things. And then that news came out. And when that news broke, even some LeBron supporters like Brian Windhorst, Ryan Clark, and others began to call him out on that and like, okay, this is a very, very bad thing. So what happened? This morning, as I woke up, I kid you not, I just clicked on my phone and went on YouTube just to see what was happening. And I came across a pretty interesting clip from the channel called Full Send Podcast. It was about a 4-minute clip. And it features Stephen A. Smith. Okay, Stephen A. Smith was on this clip. And they were asking him about the Bronny James situation and all of the news surrounding Bronny. And to my surprise, Stephen A. Smith began to question Bronny's willingness to essentially be treated like a baby by his father and the Lakers and not showing that he wants to go out there and earn it for himself and actually develop as an NBA player. Then instead of just sitting there kind of riding the coattails of his father, I was like, okay, this is an important conversation to have. But before we even get into the sound from Stephen A. Smith, today's video is brought to you by our sponsor, Prize Picks. Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. Prize Picks makes it easy to get real money action on sports and players you love. Pick more or less on 2 or more players in any sport to win up to 100 times your entry fee. For example, here's a possible winning player projection lineup. Tyreek Hill for more than 90 receiving yards and Dak Prescott for more than 263 passing yards. Josh Allen for less than 240 passing yards and CB Lamb for more than 96 receiving yards. And if you're like me and you want to play safe, you will love the new features Prize Picks invented. Flex Plays. Flex Pays are the safest way to play Prize Picks. You can still make a profit or win some money back even if a couple of your picks don't hit. On top of this, Prize Picks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I can get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. So download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code CLNS on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. And remember, whenever you support this sponsor, you're supporting this channel. Thank you. So what we want to do now is we want to play the sound from Stephen A. Smith. I want you guys to take a listen to what he had to say, and then we're going to come back and continue on the show. Take a listen to Stephen A. Smith here.
What do you think happens for his kid once he's out? Like, do you think they're kind of doing this as a favor?
But first of all, there's no question.
Yeah.
There's
no question.
let's cut the BS.
Sure.
There's no question there's a favorite. Bronny James did not do what it took to earn a spot on an NBA roster. That's the bottom line.
Not even to get drafted like that?
Well, you could question getting drafted because sometimes they do draft off of potential. And there's plenty of people that get drafted in the second round that we know we don't know what their potential is.
But to play, you're saying.
But to play opening night, to be on an NBA roster, and then listen, this is what I've said about Bronny James. He's a wonderful kid. They got a wonderful family, the first family, the NBA. I don't think anybody can deny that with Savannah and LeBron and their kids and the job that he's done. Incredible role model. And his son is a shining example of that because he's a very lovable kid. Talk to his teammates, high school, college at USC, and the pros. He's a real lovable guy in the eyes of everybody that you talk to about him. But the reality is that now that this has happened, you get to harken back to the resume. You were a McDonald's All-American. You averaged 14 points a game. Most McDonald's All-American players, they have better numbers than that. Mm-hmm. And then you go to UFC after you had the heart ailment and what have you, and then you go to UFC and you don't do but so much, and that's fine because his health was an issue. And then you get drafted 55 overall by the Los Angeles Lakers, and you're playing on opening night, and you're inserted into the lineup in the second quarter so you and LeBron can enter together. First time in NBA history has done that. King Griffey Jr., King Griffey Sr., in attendance for the game. All of that was special. At some point, you as Bronny, you need to say, I don't want this anymore. This was nice. Dad, I appreciate you. I love you to death, man. It was great that you did this. I'm happy that I could have been a part of it. But now I got to go earn my stripes. I got to be in that G League. I got to show that I'm worthy of being here. Because you can't always be here to protect and cover me, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not saying he hasn't done that. Mm-hmm. I'm saying that's what needs to happen if it hasn't.
It kind of sucks for Bronny, too, because it's like his debut could have been in a year or two, and maybe it would be like a crazy debut for him. I feel like it's kind of selfish of LeBron
he could
to
develop in the G League. You never know.
That's what I'm saying. But his first debut could have been like
if he had more time.
Well, exactly. I'm not hard on LeBron about that at all. LeBron has been such a treasure for the league. He's earned the right to have what he wants, and if he wanted that moment, that's fine. My point is that it's on Bronny. There's nobody would have said anything about that moment as long as it doesn't continue. But when you end up staying on an NBA roster and taking up an NBA roster spot when others, when so many people would say there are so many more who's more deserving, it is incumbent upon you at that particular moment in time to say, I'm not comfortable with this. I want to do this on my own.
So you heard what Stephen A. Smith had to say. What Stephen A. Smith said is essentially what a lot of people are wondering. Excuse the noise outside. They're doing some construction work outside. But a lot of people are wondering this. Why does Bronny seem to be okay with the preferential treatment that he's getting, especially for a player that's not producing? Let me give you guys some of Bronny's stats in the 2 games for his South Bay Lakers team. In 2 games, he's playing 28.5 minutes a game, scoring 5 points a game on 21.1% shooting from the field, 0% shooting from the 3, 100% shooting from the free throw line. I think he's made 1 free throw. He's getting you 2.5 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 turnovers, 1 steal, and 1 block per game. Do these numbers scream player that should get preferential treatment? Do these numbers scream player that shouldn't have to travel with his team on the road? Obviously not. But nevertheless, this is the preferential treatment that Bronny James is receiving. And it's one of the reasons some of us are asking, well, what is the real motivation for Bronny even being in the NBA? Because I'm beginning to think that, look, if Bronny's spot was given to a player that actually wanted to be there, that player would actually do a better job developing. It would do a better job developing. Now, Stephen A. Smith will question it, but he's not going to go as far as independent creators will, because the truth is, in this media space, the people that have the most courage are independent creators. You'll find other people covering sports that have more balls to say what needs to be said than the people that are supposed to be teaching us how to actually do this thing which is called journalism. That's the irony in it. And all of these guys that are supposed to be the truth tellers and really pushing the envelope, they have millions and millions of dollars. So they have financial protection. But the independent guys don't. But they're still willing to go out there and say what needs to be said. You heard at the tail end of that clip, he was like, well, why would LeBron James put him in such a situation like this? Like, well, I wouldn't blame LeBron. Really? You wouldn't? You wouldn't blame LeBron. You wouldn't blame him for putting his son in a situation where he could potentially fail. You wouldn't do that. Why wouldn't you? He's like, he's earned the right. Has he? LeBron has earned the right, I guess, to do what he wants to do within himself, but does he get to earn the right to now just start taking away spots in the NBA from other people that may deserve it? Are you okay with that? Why would he deserve that? Why would he deserve that? So, to an extent, Stephen A. Smith is all for this because he's saying, well, why doesn't Bronny step up? We're like, well, okay, but why is the father allowing it to happen? You don't want to have that conversation because it's politics, right? Because if you have that conversation, we're now going to get to the heart of the issue. And it seems like there's nobody willing to do that in sports to me. No one. Who are these people that do it? There may be a few out there. A few. The only NBA player that I've heard with the courage, that's actually on a big platform these days, is Rashard McCann on Gil's Arena, because Gil's Arena is a massive platform. He's the only one that's willing to have an independent thought these days. So these are my thoughts on it. You guys let me know what you think in the comment section, and we'll catch you guys on the next show. Peace.